Yo, what's up, guys? Today we got a 7 round mock draft for the New Orleans Saints. And, the Saints are my team, so this is going to be the first one. I'll get another one out within this week, and then we're going to do another one before the draft. And that's just because, I like the Saints so much. Here's a look at the Saints lineup. And I actually switched it over to nickel because I feel like if you watch the Saints, you know that they're in nickel a little bit more than, I'll show you, base. Like Zach Bond's on the field less than Bradley Roby is. So, I take a look at this roster and, some of the needs that stick out are defensive line, cornerback, which I feel like is kind of looked over right now. With the Kamara suspension, running back's kind of a need, and honestly, Carmichael's fault mostly, but Kamara's usage wasn't great. So they could be looking to replace Kamara, even though that sucks, but it could be a reality. And then linebacker depth needs to be addressed. As Dennis Allen said, I agree with him. Although Demario Davis is a dog, he's obviously that one guy we need. Pete Warner's also a dog, but he had some health concerns. And then the backup is Zach Bond, I think. And we drafted 2 linebackers or 1 linebacker last year, and I don't even know what happened to him. And then lastly, I think wide receiver and tight end could be addressed. I like Shaheed, but I don't know if he can be a consistent slot guy for us. I feel like he's more of like the rotational, deep threat. And then Johnson's good. Just re-signed him, but running 2 tight ends could be nice, especially a bigger guy. Johnson's a little bit smaller for a tight end, although he's bulked up since he's got there. Anyway, we're going to kick it off. These are the settings I'm using. And I'd also like to note that this mock draft is going to be a little bit longer than normal just because I have a lot to say, about my favorite team. I personally don't think the Saints need to go DT in the first 2 rounds, which it might be controversial considering the depth they have right now. But if you look at their past drafts, they've had pretty good success in later rounds or mid rounds. David Onyemata, Keem Hicks, Al Woods. I know that's kind of getting dated, but it is still their top need, but they don't need to go at least at 29. And then I also think they should address running back, wide receiver, or tight end in the first 3 rounds, and the keyword of that being or. So just one of those 3 based on their draft history. And then, like I said earlier, DB is more of a need than it looks like. And I feel like at 29 or 40 would be probably a good spot to go, especially with the way they draft DB later. Minus Gardner Johnson, a few others. And lastly, the Saints have been pretty successful in this spot around the 20s. They've drafted Deuce McAllister, Robert Meacham, Cam Jordan, and Brandon Cooks. Obviously some of the other picks have not been so great. Ruiz is all right, and then Peyton Turner, not great so far. But at 29, I'm sorry, he is too good of a player to pass on. I did this last time. If he's there, they have no choice. I'm forcing them to pick Bijan Robinson. He's too good. He just is. Cannot pass on him. If we don't go him, maybe Jahmyr Gibbs 2nd round, but I do feel like they need to address running back, especially if they want to give Carr a good chance at success. And then in round 2 at 40, I'm kind of looking at DB. I don't know. Some of these guys I feel like we could maybe get in round 3. Tight end, I would maybe go Darnell Washington here, but like I said, we do kind of need to look at needs. We can't just ignore it entirely. And Tuli Tuipulotu is also very good. Definitely thinks he's a little bit underrated. He's not the biggest name in the draft. We're going to pick him. I think he weighed in at 260 something. So he's smaller than people believed, but he can move around on the line. And then in round 3, I had been picking Trenton Simpson a lot. If he falls to 71, the Saints need that depth, and honestly, Trenton Simpson could be someone that would replace Demario Davis. Who knows when he's going to retire, so that could be an option, but we still got plenty of options here at 71. This is a good spot for the Saints. And the reason I'm going to do another mock draft here soon, an alternate edition, similar to what I did with the Seahawks, is because, as you can see, there's a lot of good running backs here. So if Robinson does fall to the Saints, I'd still pick him any day at 29. But if he doesn't, I'm not too worried because some of these running backs at round 3 that they could get, or maybe even at 40, are really good. Jahmyr Gibbs, overlooked with Robinson being in the same class as him. I believe A-Chain's a little bit overlooked too. He's very fast. And then I like Dwayne McBride, Tajay Spears. I like a lot of these guys. They're all good, so I'm not worried. But anyway, two guys that are intriguing to me here would be Jartavius Martin. A lot of people have been saying he's underrated, and I agree. And especially with what the Saints need. You know, he played across Devon Witherspoon, and he played in the slot mostly. Not great. And, you know, Lattimore is better than Devon Witherspoon's going to be. Maybe biased, but, you know, put Jartavius Martin in the slot, and you'll get similar production. I'm actually going to go more need-based again. And I'm not sure why he's this low on the board, but we're going to go Keon White. There's a very good chance he could go higher than this. He's a big guy, so he fits the Saints mold. Please, I hope the Saints don't take him round 1 or 2. I don't think he's going to fall to round 3, but, you know, simulation gave us that, so we're going with that. Okay, so with round 4, pick 115. A few spots I'm looking at. I looked at interior offensive line, and I don't know. I feel like I would have gone Voorhees maybe, but he also tore his ACL, so I'm going to pass on that. I looked at DB. I like these DBs, especially Corey Trice. Watch my Seattle Seahawks mock draft. You'll see why. I've been high on him for a while. Follow my Twitter too. It's at the official JCrec. And then I also looked at interior defensive line and linebacker. And I like Ivan Pace. I just don't know if he fits very well with the Saints scheme. They blitz a lot, so they're aggressive, but at the same time, they also require their linebackers to cover more. And as far as I remember, Ivan Pace's coverage grade isn't amazing. Yeah, I mean, it's not bad, but he is a little smaller. Don't get me wrong, I'm a fan, but I don't know if I would pick him with the Saints. I do like the guys in the interior defensive line here, and maybe we're overkilling a little bit on D-line, but look at that roster. I'm going to go with Byron Young. I like him a little bit more than Keandre Coburn, but I would be fine with either of these guys. And off to round 5 we go. We'll see what lasts. Jose Ramirez is here, but we're not going to go D-line again this draft, probably. That seems like it would be a little bit way too much. So far we've gone interior defensive line, running back, and then 2 edge players with Tua Pelotu and Keon White. So I'm thinking we'd look back at offense here. I like the tight ends that are left here. I'm going to go Davis Allen just because he seems less of a project. He's kind of a bigger body compared to Jawan Johnson, which is kind of what they need. Kuntz is a freak athlete, but he seems to be more of a developmental prospect, which is something they could go for, but who knows. At 165, I believe we addressed edge enough. I liked Yasir Abdullah. Take a look at his pass rush grade. That's pretty impressive. I said we should address DB early. We didn't, and I think Starling Thomas is a good prospect to go for it round 5. And I'm not just saying that because he's the top one on the list. Take a look at his grades here. So we're going Starling Thomas the 5th. So here in round 7, I feel like you definitely go best player available, or you look at special teams help, or someone like a kicker or a backup quarterback. And I know they met with Thompson Robinson, but he's gone. DTR, I mean. I looked at some of these linebackers because we haven't addressed that spot yet. And I'm really liking Mikel Jones. If you look at his grades here, it's not bad, especially for round 7. And Charlie Thomas was also an option, but his run defense grade kind of threw me off. Not really liking that. We're going to go Mikel Jones at 227. And then we basically have an irrelevant pick here. I'm kind of pissed. I thought we were going to get Mr. Irrelevant, but we didn't. I like DeMarco Hellams here. I really want to throw in my UC bias and go Trey Tucker because they could get a slot guy, but I'm going DeMarco Hellams because I feel like he tackles too well and we need that backup. I think Tyrann Mathieu 32 and Marcus Maye's 29. So here's the draft. They gave us a B. That's typically what they end up giving me. I guess I'm just a B-level drafter at this point. Okay, so here's our franchise running back. We get a player that we can move around on the D-line, and we get another player that we hope to be our edge rusher of the future to maybe take over for Cam Jordan when he goes. And then we get the extra D-line, interior defensive line help in Byron Young. So with Davis Allen, he's probably going to be a situational tight end here. We get a cornerback that could add some depth to our secondary. A linebacker which is needed. Maybe a little bit too late on the linebacker. And then another safety to back up those aging safeties. So Saints fans, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think I should have done differently. Obviously, this one's a little bit out there with the Robinson pick at 29. Make sure to check into my second one, which will be coming out soon, and let me know which one you like better. Hope you guys enjoyed. Please subscribe, and I'll see you later.